You're listening to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Let's have a look at South Africa and talk about their chances of winning this World Cup in India. Their captain is Temba Bavuma. They have not won a World Cup as yet. And the squad that they've selected for this World Cup in India is Bavuma, Coetzee, De Kock, Hendricks, Janssen, Klaassen, Maharaj, Markram, Miller, Ngidi, Pletlekwayo, Shamsi, Rabada, Van der Dussen, and Williams. And that's the squad that South Africa have selected for this World Cup in India. South Africa, can they break their World Cup hoodoo? That is the question. And that's the big question that everyone's asking. South Africa, we all know the history with South Africa in World Cups. It's not great. It's a very disappointing sort of history, really, in World Cups for South Africa. We all know what happened in 1992 in that match against England at the SCG, which pretty much cost them an opportunity to make it towards the final in 1992, as we all know that with the rain that stopped them on that occasion. Also, the 1999 World Cup in England, the semi-final loss to Australia, the famous victory there that Australia had. 2015, losing that semi-final against New Zealand in Auckland. So they've had World Cup heartache, South Africa. And they do have a bit of a problem of choking in World Cups and not handling the pressure all that well. But can this South African side, led by Temba Bavuma, can they finally break that hoodoo and claim the first ever World Cup for the Proteas? That will be the big question. They've done well. Recently, South Africa in the ODI series against Australia, recently leading into this World Cup, they did well to come back from 2-0 down to win that series 3-2. They put in some good performances, and that will definitely boost their confidence going into the World Cup. Being able to do that, especially against Australia, but it had to be said that Australia weren't playing at their best when they lost those 3 games in a row. Obviously, for South Africa, losing Andrich Nortje for the tournament is a big blow. He can bowl pace. He can be very effective with the ball. He can take wickets. He's a wicket taker. Very big blow for South Africa, losing him. Obviously, they will have to try and figure out what they can do to try and replace that gap that's been left by Nortje because of his injury. You have a look at the South African squad. They've got some very good batting and good bowling. They've got some strong batters, like Quinton de Kock can be dangerous on his day. David Miller has been around for years, but we know what he can do. Hendrik Klaassen has been a revolution. His T20 batting has gone to another level. So their batting's quite strong. Also, the captain, Temba Bavuma, has done well in one-day cricket of late. You've got Reza Hendricks, who can do a job. Van der Dussen can also do a job as well. Aiden Markram is handy with the bat as well. So their batting's quite strong. They've got some match winners there. Their bowling's pretty good. Despite losing Nortje, they've got the likes of Kagiso Rabada, Tabriz Shamsi in terms of the leg spin. He's pretty handy. They've got Kesh Maharaj, who's a pretty good left-arm spinner. And then you've got some inexperience. Gerald Coetzee hasn't played much one-day cricket. Pletlekwayo has been around for years, but hasn't had much of an opportunity in one-day cricket of late for South Africa. Marco Janssen's pretty new to one-day cricket. Obviously, he's been playing international cricket for not very long. You've got Ngidi, who's been around for a little bit, and Lizard Williams as well. So losing Andrich Nortje is definitely going to leave a big gap in their bowling, and probably their bowlers may struggle in this tournament because of that. But for South Africa, they've got a pretty good squad. It's just all about handling the pressure yet again. With South Africa, Can they finally break the hoodoo? That's the question. Can they, go all the way and win the tournament? There's one big problem that I see from South Africa. The squad that South Africa have selected is quite bowler heavy. They've got a lot of bowlers, not many all-rounders, which can lead to a bit of a problem in terms of a big tail end, especially when they go in with an 11 that has a bowler-heavy sort of balance to it. I think that's where they're going to struggle a little bit, trying to find out how do we work around that sort of problem. So that will put a lot of pressure on the top order, I think, to score majority of the runs, which is going to put them under pressure immensely. So that's the problem that South Africa have with their squad. It's quite bowler heavy. Top order will have to do their job. Otherwise, they may struggle in terms of posting competitive totals in this World Cup or chasing anything that the opposition sets them during this World Cup because of that issue with the bowler heavy squad and the balance to the 11, whichever 11 they choose. So that's going to be a difficult challenge for South Africa to overcome. That's one area that I see them probably struggling with in this World Cup. But for South Africa, they're more than capable of competing, certainly going towards the semi-finals. They can definitely fight for one of the semi-finals spots in the World Cup. But for South Africa, it's all about just trying to handle the pressure. How can they handle the pressure? Can they finally break the hoodoo? That's the question everyone's asking. Let's see what South Africa can do in this Cricket World Cup. They've got some good players. They've got some good batters, good bowlers. The question is, can they handle the expectations? Can they handle the pressure? And can they finally break through to win their first ever World Cup in 2023? We shall have to wait and see. The Dibbly Dobbly Podcast has you covered for the ICC Cricket World Cup for 2023. We will be providing previews, reviews of the tournament, plus live streams and watch-alongs of all Australia's ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 matches. Any selected matches throughout the tournament, semi-finals and final. Also, we will be providing match reviews of all Australia's ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 matches, plus semi-finals and final. Make sure you subscribe to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast YouTube channel so you don't miss out on all of our ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 coverage.